Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. If this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. I actually say that the date, remember this, November 5th, I believe it's going to be the most important date in the history of our country. I believe that. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in the way. With his open border policy, Joe Biden has repeatedly stabbed African-American voters in the back, including by granting millions and millions of work permits, taking their jobs. The African-American community, the Hispanic community are going to be the ones that suffer the most. And you know who else? Unions. Because unions are getting good, solid, high pay. And guess what's going to happen? Those unions are going to go out of business because people are owning trucking companies and carpenters and people that employ electricians and a lot of trades. They're not going to be able to do this. They're not going to be able to do it. The unions are going to go out. The Teamsters are in trouble. I'm dealing with the Teamsters. They should endorse me. I don't know if they will or not. I know the Teamsters are going to vote for me. The Teamsters, the Teamsters that do the work. The head Teamsters, Sean and everybody, they're good men. They're good people. And I hope they're going to endorse Trump. I think it would be nice. It's been many decades before that's happened. But if you look at the United Auto Workers, what they've done to their people is horrible. They want to do this all-electric nonsense where the cars don't go far, they cost too much, and they're all made in China. And the head of the United Auto Workers never probably shook hands with a Republican before. They're destroying. You know, Mexico has taken, over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. No wonder, it's really no wonder that Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They only know, and you remember this, we're the only ones, and they know this, that can stop them. We're the only ones. There's nobody else around. If this election isn't won, I'm not sure that you'll ever have another election in this country. Does that make sense? I don't think you're going to have another election in this country. If we don't win this election, I don't think you're going to have another election, or certainly not an election that's meaningful. And we better get out, or we better. I actually say that the date, remember this, November 5th, I believe it's going to be the most important date in the history of our country. I believe that. This country is weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference against Biden's top political opponent. Never happened. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen. I'll tell you what, my numbers are much higher than they would have been had these idiots I have like deranged Jack Smith. Somebody said, why do you call him deranged? I said, because I like telling the truth. He's a deranged individual. They said, but why don't you be nice to him? Because if you were nice to him, he'd be much worse. He's a bad guy. They're all bad people. They want to destroy our country, and we're not going to let them destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. All of the persecution is only happening because I'm running for president and leading in the polls. If I weren't running, I wouldn't have any indictments. I got indicted more than Al Capone. Does anybody know who Al Capone is? Alphonse Capone. He would even take a guy like J.D. and slap him around. He'd take J.D. Who the hell are you, Senator? Little, I'd slap you around. No, he used to kill people. If he didn't like their company at dinner, he'd kill them. He got indicted less than I did. My father's looking down, and my mother was such a beautiful woman. And she's looking down with my father, and she's saying, how the hell did our boy get 4 indictments? And not only that, all these local cases like Fanny. It's spelled Fanny. It's spelled Fanny like your ass, right, Fanny? But when she became DA, she decided to add a little French, a little fancy. Fanny. Fanny and, you know, Fanny and Mr. and Mrs. Wade, which his wife did not appreciate. His wife didn't appreciate. Can you imagine these two people trying to take down I'm a very popular president. I mean, again, I got more votes than any sitting president in history. We have these two lowlifes trying to take down a president of the United States. But, you know, equally badly, they went after 26 people. They wanted to make it 48 people. They had some senators that these guys know very well who were indicted, who were ready to be indicted, and somebody stopped it. And they wanted to find out what the hell is going on in Georgia, what's going on with the elections, that it's so crazy. And they almost got indicted for that. Think of it, United States senators that were doing their job. These people are lowlifes, and they were sent here by the Department of Justice. This isn't a local Georgia thing. This was done. They would go into Washington, D.C. and have meetings that lasted for 8 hours on numerous occasions with the Justice Department and the White House. So it's all coming in from, it's all politics. It's all coming in from Biden. The same thing with Letitia James from New York. This is another real Lola. She campaigned on, I will get Trump. I will get him. I will get him. Then she goes to court. Oh, no, it's, I'm not political. I'm not political at all. And then you have Bragg, the DA. So in the DA's office, they didn't trust Bragg. So they took their top person from the DOJ, his name is Colangelo, and they took him and they put him in the DA of Manhattan's office to get Trump. Think of it. Other than that, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. You know what was interesting? Joe Biden won against Barack Hussein Obama. Has anyone ever heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama, or as Rush Limbaugh would say, Barack Hussein Obama. He used to scream out the name Hussein. But he was, think of this, just think of this. Every swing state, Biden beat Obama. But every other state, he got killed. You think that's an honest election? I could give you 100 different things. We better straighten out our elections. We better get smart, because the people of the country are not going to take it. We're not going to take it. We're not going to take it any longer. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. Not going to allow it to happen. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. Great badge of honor. Because I'm being indicted for you. And never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom, because I will never let them take away your freedom. That's what this is all about. They want to silence me, because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in the way.